Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Boxing Along the Beltway. Our news and notes for this week, and a lot of things to recap this week. And so we're going to take a look at what was a very busy Saturday. Saturday, May 20th, one of the busiest days we've had in about a year or so. And we had a lot of things go on. Of course, the big events in London, England, and of course at the MGM National Harbor Casino. We'll talk briefly about those. We'll also talk about some of the other bouts that took place over that Saturday. We'll talk about one of our boxers getting ready to make his first road trip this week. And then we'll talk about, actually we're going to start and end our podcast with the same person, that person being Gervonta Davis. Big news out of the Davis camp that took place today. So we're going to talk more about that as well and the importance of that big news. Boxing on Beltway News and Notes is brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. From boxers to ballerinas, from shoulder pain to muscle strain and everything between, Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. If you go to www.freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief, you get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. And the reason why we want to start the podcast with Gervonta Davis is because during our post-fight wrap-up show last Saturday from the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland, all the craziness that went on during that evening, I totally forgot. I'm not even going to put Juan Marshall into this, but I totally forgot to mention Gervonta Davis's incredible win over Liam Walsh in London, England, on May 20th, and that opened up the Showtime Championship Boxing telecast that night. Again, I just totally overlooked it, and it was my fault. So I really want to start it off with this and how incredible the win was, how Gervonta Davis was ready for the bright lights overseas, which in London and in the United Kingdom, boxing can be a different animal. With the crowd support that the British boxers get, it's lights unlike anything we see in this country. And Gervonta Davis was ready for it, from the Michael Jackson looking outfit all the way to his battering of Liam Walsh in the third round. It was a great night. It was just a tremendous performance, and everybody's talking about it. We'll talk more about this a little bit later on, but everybody is talking about Gervonta Davis right now. I mean, he is one of the most talked about boxers in the world right now, based a lot on that performance. And I'll give you an example of that a little bit later on, but it was a remarkable performance for Gervonta Davis, and he continues his winning ways, 18-0 now, 17 KOs. Beating Liam Walsh, who falls for the first time in his pro career, and he's 21-1. And it was just, once he got going, Walsh had no defense, and it's a performance that'll put him on to bigger and better things. That's what people are talking about already, as far as in the ring and out of the ring. We'll talk more about that again a little bit later on in this podcast. But congratulations to Gervonta Davis and his camp as well. And of course, what took place at the MGM National Harbor, and it's been talked about for weeks, for the last week or so, the entire week. And again, as Juan and I talked about during our post-fight wrap-up show, the actions of Leon Lawson Jr., who is the uncle of Andre Dirrell, and he was the man who threw the punch at Jose Uzcategui after the bout was over. Went into Uzcategui's corner and threw the punch in. As far as I know, he has not been captured by the police. There is a warrant out for him. The World Boxing Council has suspended him indefinitely from being in any WBC sanctioned events. The Association of Boxing Commissioners came out after him as well. I don't know. I don't think he's turned himself into Maryland police as of yet. As far as we know, he could be out of town by this point. But the fact that we're talking about this and not talking about Gary Russell Jr. or the rest of the Beltway boxers that were successful on the card Saturday night is troubling. It really is, but it has to be done because it is the main story right now. But as far as the Beltway boxer is concerned, Gary Russell, again, a solid performance in his 7th-round knockout of Oscar Escandón, looked solid. He really did, and he's ready for some big things down the road. No question about that. Some of those other champions could be in Russell's sights. I know he wants to rematch with Vasily Lomachenko, but I think if he can try to unify the title, the featherweight championship, he's got Leo Santa Cruz, he's got Lee Selby right there, so a lot of great things there. His brothers, Antoine and Antonio, look very strong. Antonio raised record at 8-0. Antoine won his pro debut. Very good performance by Alexandre Marine. In his bout, he looked great. Did a great job cutting off the ring on his opponent, and Kobe Soldier Breedy did an outstanding job as well. So good night for Beltway boxing. Good crowd on hand, 2,300 people, 2,345. So, and I think overall Maryland has to be given some credit for the way they handle things. I wasn't overly thrilled with the scoring of the Francis Barthélemy Kiel Relic bout. I thought some of that scoring was outlandish. I said that on my podcast on the Post-Fight Rabo show. But Maryland handled the craziness that took place with professionalism. They handled it with dispatch. I mean, they were right there on the scene. All four of the doctors at ringside. Dr. Franco, Dr. Stiller, the chief medical officer, Dr. Weiner, and Dr. Davidson all did a remarkable job in that situation. The EMS people were right there as well, and they're veterans also. And I thought Maryland really handled things well on camera, off camera. They did a great job, and they are rapidly becoming a major player in this game, folks. The MGM has made it that way. Of course, the other promoters are still doing things at other locations. When we talk about the June schedule next week, there'll be a lot of things that will happen in Maryland, two cards in Maryland in about a 3-week time period. So Maryland's on a roll right now. They are on a roll. They are doing tremendous work. And the fact that they handled this so well and didn't let things get out of hand says a lot for where they can go as a major player with the MGM National Harbor Casino as their main backdrop. They're going to be okay. It's no question about it. It's going to be some great times here in Maryland, and I think they will definitely bode well for the rest of the Beltway. Now, there were a lot of action going on around the country, around the country, really, as far as Beltway boxing is concerned. And I guess we have to start with the ageless wonder himself, DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley, as he captured a minor title, the vacant UBF All-America's welterweight title. He won a 10-round unanimous decision over former WBA super lightweight champion Vicious Vivian Harris of Brooklyn, New York. Of course, Corley is a former WBO super lightweight championship, and this is about that both these guys said should have happened 10 or 15 years ago, and that's about they are contemporaries. So the fact that it's happening now is kind of interesting in that regard. But Corley won the bout by unanimous decision, scores of 95-92 and 94-93 twice. And Corley has only lost once in his last 5 bouts, I think it is. And he raises his record now to 49-28-1, 28 KOs. And Harris is 32-12-2 with 19 KOs. And Harris had not fought for a couple of years. So Corley has been active, to say the very, very least. And again, has been successful. And again, yes, he beat a faded veteran in this case, but don't let that fool you. Corley actually came off a bout in his last outing that people thought he won. And that was over a guy who was like 9-0, 10-0. So again, don't expect Corley maybe to get into the higher echelon of the super lightweight or the welterweight division. But as I said, time and time again, any prospect who wants to see where they are in this business has to come through DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley. And that is this period in the story. If they can't beat Corley at this stage in his career, they have to do some retooling. And I think Corley he's a gatekeeper, yes, but he's a gatekeeper that if you're not ready, you're going to get beat. you won't pass through the gate, so to speak. So congratulations again to DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley. On that same card at the Raleigh Convention Center in Raleigh, North Carolina, Leesburg, Virginia lightweight Eric El Torito Hernandez, he lost for the very first time in his pro career. He dropped an 8-round unanimous decision to a guy known as Mr. Marvelous, Maynard Allison out of Siler City, North Carolina. Allison won the UBF All-America lightweight title. He won by scores of 79-73 across the board. Hernandez 9-1, 5 KOs. Allison record is 8-1 and 5 KOs. At the Laredo Energy Center in Laredo, Texas, DC featherweight Jordan Short Dog White, he lost for the first time as a pro. He lost a 6-round unanimous decision to fellow undefeated boxer Adam Lopez of Glendale, California. A lot of folks are calling this an upset, in all honesty. However, my partner Juan Marshall talked to the White camp, talked to his father, Jordan White's father, and his father said that White broke his left hand in the first round and was hampered the rest of the way. And I think a lot of people have not heard that. Now, that's no excuse. I mean, those things happen. So kudos to Adam Lopez. White lost by scores of 59-55 twice and 60-54. White is now 4-1, 3 KOs. Lopez 7-0, 3 KOs. So hopefully he'll be back soon. Jordan White will be soon. Very talented boxer is Jordan Short Dog White, but he took a setback in Laredo, Texas over the weekend. Now, looking at the amateurs real quickly, the Potomac Valley Association of USA Boxing will be sending 15 local boxers to the Junior Olympic Youth Open and Prep National Championships. Those will take place on June 26th through July 1st at the Charleston Civic Center in Charleston, West Virginia. These guys won their places on the team at the Main Street Gym in Salisbury, Maryland during the Junior Olympic Regionals. From what the Junior Olympic chair for the PVA, Ricky Womack, says, there probably could have been more. But according to him, a couple of boxers were robbed of opportunities to go. But 15 is a lot of guys, no question about it. There's some good guys on this team. Real quickly, in the 11-12 age group, you've got Cardarius Johnson of the Headbangers at 65 pounds, Marcel Steele from Keystone, Jeremiah Jimson of Oxon Hill, and Khalik Harrison from Lifestyle. In the 13-14 pound group, you got Lonzo Malcolm from Keystone, Jordan Roach, no excuse. That's, of course, the younger brother of Lamont Roach Jr. Sam Edmonds out of Headbangers. Tyreek Williams, the next up, he's the younger brother of Keyshawn Williams, who went to the National Golden Gloves this year. Dion Giles of No Excuse, and Jaleel Hackett of Enigma. This is a guy who's done very well throughout his amateur career thus far. In 15-16 age group, you've got Jamal Harvey of Oxon Hill, Magalik Barti, there's that name again, from Lifestyle Gym. His gym mate, Lamar Odom from Lifestyle, will be on there as well. Brian Perry from the Woodland Tigers, and Michael Timus of No Excuse. So a good group will be heading to Charleston, West Virginia for the Junior Olympic regionals and junior championship, I should say, national championship, and the Prep Open as well. Hopefully get the lineup from South Atlantic as well as Virginia and post that on for you as well. As we said, we're starting and ending this podcast with Gervonta Davis. And today, as we record this, something happened today that it is all I can do to keep from shedding tears of joy. You know, one of the things that we have preached, myself and Juan Marshall and the Fight Dr. Jerome Spears and many others, have preached is getting our boxers better known to not only the local area, of course, but also eventually nationally, maybe internationally also. But since this podcast, my blog, Boxing Along the Beltway, deals with the local, primarily with the local scene, the Beltway boxing scene, DC, Maryland, and Northern Virginia, one of my goals has been trying to get our boxers known in their own backyards. Today, we took a real step forward in doing that. And I don't say me. I mean, I shouldn't say we, but we as a Beltway boxing community took a real step forward in doing that today. Earlier today, it was announced that IBF Super Featherweight Champion Gervonta Tank Davis signed an exclusive endorsement deal with Under Armour. Now, for those who don't know, that's Under Armour with Kevin Plank, who is a graduate of the University of Maryland, and Under Armour for many years has been headquartered in Baltimore, Maryland. And they have an ad campaign called the Hometown Heroes, and among those that have been a part of that are legendary Baltimore area athletes like Ray Lewis of the Baltimore Ravens and Baltimore native Michael Phelps. They are both Under Armour endorsers. Also, well, I'll get to that in a second. But now Gervonta Davis is a part of that. And today, not only did they announce the deal, but they unveiled it with a beautiful billboard that overlooks parts of Interstate 95 near Baltimore, Maryland. I know where these billboards are. If you look on my blog, you'll see the link to the story from the Baltimore Sun. Jeff Barker, the Baltimore Sun, and the pictures done by Kevin Richardson of the Sun. And I know where this billboard is. One of them are. There are two of them in the city. But to see that and to know what Davis has meant to his city. Now, I've talked about this before on this podcast. Gervonta Davis was huge during the Freddie Gray riots. He was huge for calming down the section of the city where he grew up. He is an inspiration to so many kids in that Baltimore area. He's been honored by not one, but two mayors in the city of Baltimore. The last mayor, Stephanie Rollins Blake, and Mayor Pugh, Catherine Pugh, the current mayor. It is just phenomenal that Gervonta, at 22 years old, has received such publicity, and he is now a legendary figure, or very soon will be a legendary figure in the city of Baltimore. To many kids, he's already that. But to see this and to see the picture of it, I can't wait to drive down there, because I know it's on my way to either on my way or on my way back from Coppin State University, where I work basketball games. I'm hoping it'll be up by the time basketball season rolls around, because this is a symbol of what is right with Baltimore. Everybody talks about how wrong Baltimore is, and Baltimore really is a beautiful city. But everybody talks about how bad the city is. But here's Gervonta, 22 years old, showing people what is right with Baltimore. And as I said today, he has been the talk of boxing. I heard a podcast today, talking boxing with Billy C. Good podcast, really good. I suggest you listen to it. And his subject in today's edition was whether or not Floyd Mayweather should. Let me rephrase that. Whether or not Gervonta Davis should dump Floyd Mayweather. And the person he had on as his guest during that segment, I forget his name offhand, said he really shouldn't. And I agree with that to a point. And see, this is, and what Billy C was talking about was the fact that Floyd Mayweather doesn't do well by his guys. And he cited Adrian Broner and Badu Jack and J. Leon Love as examples. Now, Adrian Broner, his issues are his issues. That's why as we record this, he's spending the second of 3 days in jail right now for not showing up for court. Totally different animal in that case. I don't know much about J. Leon Love other than what I've seen in the ring. What's happening there, I don't know. Badu Jack, Solid performer. I've seen him up close. He fought here back in March of last year at the DC Armory. Fought James DeGale for the world title. And he's a solid fighter. I'm sorry, he didn't fight James DeGale. Fought Lucien Boutte. Excuse me. But I don't know what happened with that. What's different about this relationship is that Floyd Mayweather may be promoting him, but Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis are the ones that are pulling the trigger on deals. There was a story before this title defense against Liam Walsh that Floyd Mayweather wanted Gervonta to move permanently to Las Vegas and train at his gym at Mayweather's gym out there. David said no. And I'm pretty sure Kenny and Calvin had something to do with that, because Kenny and Calvin have been there since day one with Gervonta. The city of Baltimore has been with Gervonta since day one. And I can say that. I can say that because of the crowds Gervonta would bring during his amateur shows. I announced Gervonta's last amateur bout. Place was packed. It was Gervonta's swan song, and the place was packed to see him. So they have been with him since day one. So it would make sense that Gervonta would stay in Baltimore because of the impact he has on this community and the fact that those who support him all here. So I don't understand why that'd be a case. Now, can Mayweather get Gervonta the big bouts? That's a very good question. And so far, so good. And that was another part of the conversation that was on this other podcast, Talking Boxing, because the names started to roll off the tongue. Lee Selby, Leo Santa Cruz, Vasyl Lomachenko, possibly Gary Russell Jr. These are bouts that people want to see Gervonta in now. And what Billy C was afraid of was that Mayweather would do for Davis what people say he did for himself, and that's cherry pick the boxers that the opponents that he wanted to have. And again, I don't know if that's true. The guy that was talking to Billy C was saying maybe Mayweather will live vicariously through Davis and put Davis in the bouts that would make sense and make some good money for him. We shall see. But to get this type of PR, and kudos has to go to Lauren Shvatkin. Now, if you don't know who that name is, you will. Okay? Around here, Shvatkin name in the Beltway area is very well known. Lauren Shvatkin's father, the legendary Rich Shvatkin, has been the long time radio voice of Georgetown University basketball. One of the great play-by-play announcers has ever been in this area, and one of the great play-by-play announcers in all of college basketball, in my personal opinion. His brother, Evan Shvatkin, Lauren's brother, Evan Shvatkin, does Rich Shvatkin stats. But Lauren has done extremely well with a lot of our boxers as far as PR is concerned. And this is a crowning jewel. Getting him involved with Under Armour, a local company that has already put him out there, not only along the lines of Ray Lewis and Michael Phelps, but now Gervonta Davis, as far as Under Armour is concerned, joins people like Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua, who are two of the other big names in boxing right now, based on their last performances. Gervonta Davis is right in that category now. So again, kudos to Lauren Shvatkin on that one. But this is a phenomenal story. And it's a story that I've been waiting more than 30 years to see. To see a Beltway boxer on a billboard like that. In my tenure, it's never happened. I'm not even sure. I would assume Sugar Ray Leonard had one because of his national deals with Seven Up and others that he had. But, he may be the first one, maybe since Sugar Ray Leonard in the Beltway, to have his picture prominently displayed on a billboard in this area. And that is a remarkable feat indeed. So congratulations to Gervonta Davis and his whole camp, the Upton Boxing Gym. This is a proud moment. And again, I'm having a hard time really describing the joy and pride that I feel as I look at this picture in front of me right here in this situation and where I am right now. I see this picture. It says Baltimore's own on the billboard. It is just, and you see the pride in Gervonta's day. Again, go to my blog and see this picture. You see the pride in Gervonta's face, and he is a role model, and he knows it. That's the key. He knows that he's a role model for not only the youth of Baltimore, but I think the citizens of Baltimore now, because everybody knows him. And it's just, if he ever does a title defense, I hope he does, a title defense in the city, the Royal Farms Arena may not be able to hold it. It may have to be Camden Yards or M&T Bank Stadium. That's how big Gervonta just got with this wonderful moment. And again, if Gervonta continues on the right path, he's financially stable for the rest of his career and maybe the rest of his life as well. So you just got to stay on the straight and narrow. And he's got, and the difference, one of the things I wanted to also say about the whole thing with Mayweather and everybody, Broner especially, and I can't say for Leon Love, Jay Leon Love, or Badu Jack, but Broner, it's obvious to me, had no one to tell him no. Gervonta Davis and Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis has people that would say no when Gervonta does something that he should not be doing. Yes, he's an adult. He's 22 years old. But people have to be around you to tell you no. You shouldn't do this. For whatever reason, you shouldn't do it. And my final point is this. What Gervonta Davis has right now should be a measuring stick and a level for all other Beltway boxers to look for. We've been talking about promoting themselves for the longest time. Beltway boxers need to promote themselves. Get out in the community. Meet folks. Some have done it. Others need to get away from, and I don't mean this does not mean social media. I mean going out there and meeting the people face to face. More boxers need to do that. And I said this on a Facebook Live, but just recently in Las Vegas, they had a box fan expo. And they brought in current boxers and former boxers from all around the world to meet and greet with folks. The Beltway needs to do something very similar at some point. One of the big cards we have, maybe during the week of the card, we get a lot of Beltway boxers, past and present, and we have them meet fans somewhere, maybe the convention center or Showplace Arena, somewhere that our fans can get out there and meet them and know who they are. And even people who may not be boxing fans, but, just get them out there with maybe other athletes as well. Just get the boxers out there to meet the fans. Tell them who they are. And so we have to do a better job as a whole of getting our boxers to promote themselves. But this is a major step for Gervonta Davis. This is beyond the realm of anything that I have seen in my almost 34 years now of covering this business. And I'm so proud of him. It's amazing. Our next broadcast will be on Saturday, June 3rd. We'll come to you from Rose Garden Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. We'll preview that card in our next podcast. Also, we'll talk about a amateur card that'll be at the Howard Theater on Friday, June 2nd. We'll talk more about that as well. We'll talk about the June schedule as a whole next week on our Beltway Boxing News and Notes podcast. Boxing on the Beltway Boxing News and Notes brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. From boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain to muscle strain and everything between, Boxing on the Beltway recommends Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.